A janitor who earned minimum wage his entire life died with more than $8 million in investments. A brilliant technology pioneer who helped invent Wi-Fi. The same man who once threw gold coins into the Pacific Ocean just for fun died nearly broke. Same country, same economy, two completely different financial outcomes. How is that possible? Most people believe wealth is created by intelligence, education, or finding the perfect investment. But after studying the financial lives of hundreds of wealthy people, Morgan Housel reached a completely different conclusion. Money is less about what you know and more about how you behave. Today, we're going through 10 powerful lessons from the psychology of money. These lessons aren't complicated investment strategies or secret stock picks. They're timeless principles that can completely change the way you think about money, wealth, and financial freedom. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Behavior beats intelligence. Here's something fascinating. Researchers have studied investor performance for decades. And surprisingly, the investors who often earn the highest long-term returns aren't the ones who trade every day. In fact, some studies found that the best-performing investment accounts belonged to people who had forgotten about their portfolios or had already passed away. Why? Because they never reacted emotionally to market swings. Meanwhile, active investors are constantly buying and selling. They chase headlines. They panic when markets crash. They become greedy when markets soar. Every decision feels smart in the moment. But over time, those emotional decisions quietly destroy returns. This is why consistency beats brilliance. The stock market doesn't reward the smartest person. It rewards the person who stays invested the longest. Think about planting a tree. You don't dig it up every weekend to see whether the roots are growing. You water it. You protect it. Then you leave it alone. Money works the same way. Ronald Read understood this better than almost anyone. He worked as a janitor and gas station attendant for most of his life. He never earned a huge salary. He never appeared on television. He never acted like a millionaire. Instead, he invested consistently, lived below his means, avoided unnecessary spending, and allowed compound interest to do the heavy lifting. When he passed away, he left behind more than $8 million. His story proves one simple truth. You don't have to be the smartest investor in the room. You simply have to behave better than everyone else. Lesson 2. Nobody admires your stuff. Imagine a bright red Ferrari drives past you. What's your first thought? It probably isn't, "Wow, that driver must be an amazing person." Instead, your mind immediately imagines yourself behind the wheel. "I wish I owned that car." That's the psychology behind status spending. People rarely admire your possessions. They're imagining themselves owning them. The expensive watch, the luxury house, the designer clothes, the newest phone. Every dollar spent trying to impress strangers is one less dollar buying your future freedom. That same money could have been invested. It could have earned returns. Those returns could have earned even more returns. That's how wealth quietly grows. The next time you're about to make an expensive purchase, ask yourself one question. Am I buying this because I truly want it, or because I hope someone else notices? That single question can save you thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Stop buying status. Start buying options, because options create freedom. And freedom is the greatest luxury money can buy. Lesson 3. Most of your bets will fail. Here's something almost nobody talks about. Even the greatest investors are wrong a lot. Warren Buffett has owned roughly 400 to 500 stocks throughout his investing career. Yet the overwhelming majority of his lifetime wealth came from only about 10 investments. Many of his other investments were average. Some were complete failures. Amazon followed the same pattern. The company launched hundreds of products and services that never succeeded. Most people have never even heard of them. But then came AWS, then Prime. Those two businesses became so successful that they made almost every previous failure irrelevant. That's how extraordinary success usually works. One big winner can erase dozens of small mistakes. The problem is that most people quit after the first few failures. They assume failure means they're not talented enough. Successful people understand something different. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's often the price of finding it. Keep taking intelligent shots. You never know which one will change your life. Lesson 4. Time is the only cheat code. Let's compare two investors. Emma starts investing $300 every month at age 25. She does it consistently for just 10 years. Then she stops investing completely. David waits until he's 35 before he starts. He invests the exact same $300 every month all the way until he turns 65. David invests for 3 times longer. Yet Emma can still finish with more money. Why? Because she gave compound interest something incredibly valuable. Time. People think investing is about finding the perfect stock. Most of the time, it's simply about giving ordinary investments enough time to become extraordinary. Warren Buffett is the perfect example. Today, he's worth tens of billions of dollars. But the vast majority of that wealth came after the age of 65. Not because he suddenly became smarter, because his money had been compounding for more than 5 decades. Every year you delay, investing isn't just 1 year lost. It's decades of future growth that disappear forever. Your greatest investing advantage isn't genius. It's getting started today. Lesson 5. Greed is the silent wealth killer. Making money is hard. Keeping it is even harder. One of the biggest financial mistakes isn't earning too little. It's believing that whatever you have is never enough. Rajat Gupta was once the CEO of McKinsey & Company. He was respected around the world and had accumulated a fortune worth roughly $100 million. He had enough money to never work another day in his life. But he wanted more. He became involved in insider trading, hoping to make another $17 million. Instead, he lost his reputation, his career, and his freedom. One bad decision destroyed a lifetime of success. That's why the hardest financial skill isn't making money. It's knowing when you already have enough. Before making any major financial decision, ask yourself one simple question. Am I risking what I already have and need for something I don't have and don't truly need? Greed rarely announces itself. It usually sounds like ambition. But when just a little more becomes your only goal, it can quietly destroy everything you've already built. Lesson 6. Luck goes both ways. Success is never entirely under your control. Neither is failure. Bill Gates was incredibly talented, but he also had extraordinary luck. He attended one of the very few high schools in the world that gave students access to a computer in the late 1960s. That opportunity changed his life. At the same time, one of his closest friends, someone just as intelligent and equally passionate about computers, died in a mountaineering accident before graduation. One story was shaped by extraordinary good luck, the other by unimaginable bad luck. Both remind us of the same lesson. Luck cuts both ways. You can't control whether opportunities appear, and you can't prevent every setback. What you can control is your preparation. Build an emergency fund. Save $50 every week, or whatever fits your budget. Think of it as your things happen fund. Because eventually, life happens. Jobs disappear. Cars break down. Medical bills arrive. Markets crash. Unexpected problems are guaranteed. The people who survive those moments are the ones still standing when the next opportunity arrives. Lesson 7. Getting money and keeping money are different skills. Getting rich requires optimism. Staying rich requires discipline. Very few people master both. Jesse Livermore became one of the most famous traders in history. During the 1929 market crash, he made the equivalent of $3 billion in a single day. It was one of the greatest financial victories ever recorded. Yet only a few years later, he had lost almost everything. Why? Because earning money and protecting money require completely different mindsets. Making money often rewards boldness. Keeping money rewards caution. Most people admire hustle. Almost nobody admires survival. But survival is what allows wealth to last for decades. Here's a simple reminder. If your portfolio falls 50%, it doesn't need a 50% gain to recover. It needs a 100% gain. That's why avoiding catastrophic losses is often more important than chasing spectacular gains. Protect what you've already built, because wealth that survives keeps compounding. So here's my question for you. Which lesson changed the way you think about money the most? Leave your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll love the next one in this playlist, where we dive even deeper into the timeless principles of building lasting wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.